Just got back from Chicago. You remember how much people can drink in the Midwest. It's like it's fucking mind blowing. Going home and it's totally normal to have a couple of beers, in the morning-ish, right?
With
and then
cereal.
And then have
pour the beer in your cereal.
Frosted Flakes. And then have like 13 beers at lunch or dinner and just drink through the night until you go to bed. I mean, it's like that is a very normal way to live and drink in the Midwest.
Yeah, that's what's really funny because when at the peak of my drinking, I remember people would be like, they would look at me like horrified. They're like, how can you just keep drinking like that? I'm like, I'm from Minnesota. And then most of the time be like, oh, like, and then it would just completely
explains everything.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Do you think Midwest drinks more than Florida, or you think Florida drinks more than the Midwest?
I think Midwest drinks more than anybody.
Really?
I would put,
because Florida goes nuts.
Go in the comments on this. I would put Minnesota, Wisconsin, begrudgingly.
Yeah.
Chicago, Illinois, Michigan. I'll throw in Iowa. I'm not going to leave you guys out. I would say pound for pound, I mean, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's absurd.
It's absurd.
Who thinks they make the list, but they don't make the list at all? Like St. Louis.
St. Louis, I would be scared of them to drink with them.
Really?
Yeah, I would say Narnia. The people of Narnia.
Yeah, they're wild as
creatures.
Shit.
They kind of talk a lot, but
they're wild.
I don't think they can handle it.
Have you had one of those moments where someone's like, "I want to drink you. I can drink you under the table," and you go toe to toe?
Bye.
And you ruin them.
Bye. I'm like the fucking chick in Raiders of the Lost Ark. She's in that like tundra cabin. She's just sitting there. That's me. Fucking just crushing my labia.
No one's even come close, huh?
Okay, I'm going to say this for sure. UFC fighters, in my experience, which is a lot, I've drank with them and it's not enjoyable because they get to a point where then they kind of want to start doing moves. So
armbar.
Yeah. So this happened several times. This is one story. A friend of mine is a UFC fighter. I'm not going to say who it is. And I was in Hawaii and I was doing shows and I was fucking on it. I was just going out partying and I came a week early drinking. And then I'm like, hey, let's drink. And he goes, no, I'm not drinking right now. And his girlfriend's like, yeah, he's not. And I go, come on, man. Like being a dickhead. So he's like, no. And so every night, me and my buddies would get drunk. And he wouldn't every night. And I would have barbecues, whatever. Last night, we go out for sushi and we're doing sake bombs. I'm like, bro, it's my last night. And he looks at me and he goes, okay, you want me to drink? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, okay, but let me just tell you this right now. You wanted this. And I'm like, okay. It's like so dumb.
Like a child.
Yeah, like a fucking child. And he's like, okay. So boom, boom, boom. We just start getting after it. And he starts getting like the fucking Hulk. Like a Hulk sea breeze Hulk. Just sea breezes. And then he all of a sudden starts doing moves where I'm like, ow, ow. And everyone's like, hey, stop. And he's like, what? And he just goes into like
Blackout
lights out.
Yeah.
And he fucking chokes out my friend at Dave & Buster's. Choked him out. My butt fell on the ground, starts foaming. And we're all like, and then my buddy wakes up like 28 days later, but it was like 28 seconds later. And he's like, what? And we're like, oh my God. Now we're just scared.
Yeah.
And now it's like not enjoyable. And then he put a fucking beer on my head and did a jump kick and kicked it off.
Clean?
Which I wasn't enjoying.
No.
Because I was like, well, I could die.
Yeah.
So long story short, it was just, then the next day.
No UFC fighters ever again.
The next day I call him and he just goes, don't even say anything. And I go, no, but, and he goes, nope. What did I fucking say?
Yeah.
He goes, I get like fucking crazy. I'm like, yeah, you did.